Hey guys, what's up? This is 99 Oil Drops, and I'm going to be explaining all the details known thus far about the upcoming Nickelodeon television series, The Last Airbender: Legend of Korra. I made this video mainly because I've been noticing that there's a lot of people who are confused about certain aspects of the show, and I just wanted to help clarify those for you. But if you don't know a thing about The Legend of Korra yet and want a full of information about it, that's fine too. You've come to the right place. Okay, so let's get right to it. So The Last Airbender: Legend of Korra has been under development for about a year and a half now, and is the upcoming sequel TV cartoon to Avatar: The Last Airbender. Ever since the third season of the enormously successful cartoon wrapped up in 2009, there were many asking, what happens next? What happens to Aang and his friends after the defeat of the Fire Lord? Then in summer 2010, the co-creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, announced at Comic-Con that year that they were writing and producing a new television series called Avatar: Legend of Korra. Now this was the original title, but they were eventually forced to change it because film director James Cameron seized the rights to own the title as a trademark to the 2009 blockbuster film Avatar. So they renamed it The Last Airbender: Legend of Korra, which doesn't really sound as good. By the way, that's the same reason M. Night Shyamalan's 2010 film was named The Last Airbender without the Avatar part, but let's just not even mention that movie again. Originally, the show was supposed to be a miniseries with a single season of 12 episodes, but due to the demand of the fans, 14 more episodes were ordered to make a second season. Both these seasons seem probably too short, but there's still always a chance that more episodes will be ordered. According to Mike and Brian, The Legend of Korra is said to be darker and will focus on a much more mature theme. However, it will be balanced by the same fun and adventure that the original series had, and that they want it to be suitable for all audiences. You can probably expect some more intense action too. So the story is set about 70 years after the end of the third book of Fire in the Last Airbender series. So, about the time shortly after Aang's generation had mostly died out. What happened to Aang was that he died at a fairly young age because he was frozen in that ice block for 100 years. And somehow that messed up his lifespan, so he aged really quickly. Anyway, after he died, the Avatar spirit was reincarnated into a waterbender from the southern water tribe named Korra, a rebellious, hot-headed 17-year-old girl who has so far mastered all the elements except air. Problem is, technically she can't learn to airbend because Aang was the last airbender and now he's dead, meaning the airbenders are extinct, right? Wrong. Turns out Aang and Katara got married at some point and had 3 kids, one of them named Tenzin, who is an airbender and will be Korra's airbending master. Tenzin himself as an adult is married to a non-bender and has 3 kids of his own who are all airbenders as well. Lots of people have made the misconception that Korra is Aang and Katara's daughter or granddaughter, but that isn't true. She isn't related to them, and the Avatar spirit can't pass on to a descendant of a previous one anyway. So let me sum up the plot here. Korra leaves her home and travels with her animal guide, Naga, a polar bear dog, to this heavily industrialized metropolis called Republic City, which is sort of like the Tokyo of the Avatar world. Also known as United Republic, the city was established a while after the war by Prince Zuko and Avatar Aang, and it's a place where both benders and non-benders from all 4 nations live and thrive together peacefully. The police forces of Republic City are metal benders who had adopted the use of metal bending by none other than Toph Beifong, who as an adult traveled and spread the art of metal bending. In fact, she had a daughter who was the police chief in Republic City. Her name hasn't been mentioned yet, but right now she's just been known as Chief Beifong. Anyway, Republic City has been a stirring pot for crime over the years, and an organization called the Equalists, who are against the use of bending, are rising up and attempting to start an anti-bending revolution. The Equalists are led by a masked man named Eamon, who will be the new antagonist, and they use Ty Lee's chi block in combat against benders. Of course, it's up to Avatar Korra to stop the anti-benders and maintain peace and order in Republic City. So that sums up the main plot of the show. Let's jump back to the production process for a bit. Around a year after the project was announced, a presentation was held by Nickelodeon and the makers of The Last Airbender at Comic-Con in July 2011. This included a more in-depth description of the characters as well as the showing of the first official trailer for The Last Airbender Legend of Korra, which looked epic. And just hours later it went all over the internet, and when people saw it they just got stoked. I was one of them, by the way. So anyway, here we have The Legend of Korra as a red hot topic, and all these fans have just been dying to know when this new show is coming out. Well, unfortunately, no exact release date has been confirmed yet. In the project's earliest stages, it was thought to air sometime in fall 2011, but due to the fact that the makers ordered those 14 additional episodes, the show has been delayed and is now expected to air in mid or late 2012. There have been rumors that the series may possibly be delayed again until summer 2013, which would be a painfully long wait. But I wouldn't panic though. That to me seems unlikely. Unless Mike and Brian are planning to add more episodes to the first season, I don't think that's going to happen. So it still remains a good bet that The Legend of Korra will be set to air on Nickelodeon sometime later this year. After the big trailer came out, news around the show fell quiet until December of last year when the show's opening sequence and pilot episode leaked on YouTube. I don't know how the leaked material got on there in the first place since the companies producing the show are really tight about copyright laws, but every website I've checked so far that has posted the leaks have been forced to take them down by Viacom and the other companies involved with making the show, and unfortunately, I never got a chance to see them. Nonetheless, from what I've heard, the intro looks very similar to the intro in Avatar The Last Airbender, except it shows people bending each element in front of a blue backdrop instead of a red backdrop. The intro was also narrated by J.K. Simmons, who voices Tenzin. So although the style of the opening is closely related, it still has a nice, fresh type of look to it. I should mention too that the first episode is titled Book 1, Air, Chapter 1, Welcome to Republic City. As you can see, the title looks identical to the one used at the start of each Last Airbender episode. Also, judging by the Book 1 part, it looks like a slam dunk that this show is going to be more than just a single season, which is nice to know. As for the leaking of the first episode, I don't know very much about it other than everybody has been saying that it looked amazing, and that it revealed that there was only one character from The Last Airbender who was returning to star in The Legend of Korra. Those of you who have seen the leaks will know exactly who I'm talking about, but I won't say who it is in the commentary of this video so I don't spoil for those of you who haven't seen the clips and like surprises. As of now, news of The Legend of Korra has once again fallen eerily quiet. I'm guessing the next major announcement will be the confirmation of the release date. It may take some time, but just stay tuned for that. So lastly, I'm going to be sharing what my thoughts are about the show. In all honesty, I think that this show will be fantastic. I'm tremendously excited for it. It's pretty obvious that The Legend of Korra will be a different show from The Last Airbender for a number of reasons, but I think that's why it'll be so good. The new protagonist, Korra, for example, is a very different character from Aang. She's much more aggressive, proactive, cocky, arrogant, and independent, while Aang was peaceful and more carefree. It seems that Korra prefers using fire over water, which really reflects her personality as well. I also don't have a problem with the idea of having a female avatar. In fact, I quite like it. Some fans have been complaining about it, and I don't understand why. The fact that the avatar is a female won't turn the show into a chick flicks or anything. Honestly, if you refuse to watch this show because the protagonist is a girl, can't help you. Another really big change we'll see is the Avatar world in a much more recent time period. Lots of people have been complaining that the world can't become modernized in 70 years. I too personally think that this transition does seem like a little too much. We should keep in mind though that this world just went through 100 years of war. In a period of war, a civilization's development can slow down dramatically. You could also just compare the year 1850 to 1920 for an example. In 1850, people traveled by horse and carriage. By 1920, almost everybody used cars. That change came in 70 years. The Avatar world in the original Last Airbender series was also a lot more modern than some people would think. The Fire Nation had factories and tanks, and the Water Tribes eventually developed submarines. So it's a little hard to accept, but I think that we'll be okay with this change in the long run. Perhaps the toughest change will be bidding farewell to the old characters. It's hard for us to accept the fact that so many great characters from the original series will be dead, which kinda sucks. But let's be honest, what more can be done involving them? What would be the point of making a fourth season and continuing with The Last Airbender? I just don't see a reason to do it. Aside with Zuko wanting to find his mother, the series concluded just fine in my opinion. Don't worry about Zuko though. I'm sure we'll find out what happened to his mom in either A, The Legend of Korra, or B, the new comic books. Now don't get me wrong, I love the old characters. They added so much depth to the show and were one of the main reasons why it was so successful. But you know what? It's a good bet that there'll be flashbacks showing the Team Avatar characters from when they were younger, so that's good. As for Aang, it's quite obvious that we'll see him as an adult because he'll be communicating with Korra as a spirit and he'll be giving her guidance, similar to the way that Avatar Roku communicated with Aang when he was alive. Don't forget that there's new characters who will cast the next show, and I'll guarantee you that they'll be excellent as well. We've got a couple of new male characters here that look pretty promising. One's an earthbender named Bullen, who by the sounds of things is going to be the Sokka of The Legend of Korra, and his older brother Mako, who's a firebender and is considered to be a more dark and serious type. That sounds like Zuko, people. I'm sorry I haven't talked about the characters enough, but if I did, this video would be over a half hour long. If you want to read about some of the other characters, just go to the Wikipedia link in the description. You can find more information about The Legend of Korra there too. Everything I've talked about is there. If you haven't seen the trailer to The Legend of Korra, watch it. It looks outstanding. I have a link for that too. Also, as a small treat, I have placed a link to a website containing some rare and really cool authentic still images from The Legend of Korra, so be sure to check those out. Also, feel free to comment on this video and talk amongst yourself to discuss what you think of the show. If you have any questions about The Legend of Korra or this video, give me a shout in the comment section below or through a message, and I will reply to you as soon as I can and do my best to answer them. So thanks for watching. I hope my video has been helpful to you or clarified some things that you were confused with before, and I'll talk to you later.